All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Paul Pennell with Urban Design Partners. It is, oh gosh, what is today? Today is January 7th, 2026. And we are all here to discuss a rezoning petition in the city of Charlotte, rezoning petition 2025-124, located at 17705 McKee Road. I'm sure everyone here is familiar with the location since you all received the community meeting invitation probably about a week ago. Uh, Hope everyone enjoyed their holiday and thank you for joining us today. As much as we all enjoyed the holidays, how much more fun could we have starting off with a rezoning petition? This petition is being conducted by the Drox Group. They are a local developer here in town, and they are looking to request a rezoning from an N1A district to an N1C district for single family homes. We get into those details here in just a bit. But before we get started, let's do a little bit of housekeeping here. So question and answers, we'll hold all of those to the end of the presentation. But in the meantime, while we go through our presentation, if you have a question or a thought that pops up that you would like for us to address at the end of the petition, we are happy to do that. Probably the easiest way to do that is up at the top corner. You're going to see a chat button on your screen. Go ahead and click that when you think of a question or want to mention something. That'll open up a window for you. Then you can type your question there, and it will populate into a list at the end of the presentation. We'll go through that list and answer as many of the questions as we can. All right. So just wanted to jump in here. You got an aerial photograph here, aerial imagery of the 16.3 acre site bordered to the north by McKee Road, uh, located within Mecklenburg County, and then bordered by Union County and South Carolina to the south. The existing parcel is currently vacant. It's covered in pretty much fully vegetated throughout the entire site. There is a single family site that is currently slated for development to the west. Uh, Really, it's directly below where we're saying site here. That site has actually been permitted through the city of Charlotte. I'll go ahead and give you that land development permit number here if any of you are interested. And also, just as a general housekeeping item, this presentation, which is being recorded, and also the actual presentation itself will be posted to our website. I'll talk about that a little bit in more detail at the end of the presentation as well. Just so anybody wants to come back and rewatch the presentation, or they would like to go through this presentation and take another look at the petition at a later date, that will all be available for download on our website. But that land development permit for the single family neighborhood that's going in just to our west is LDCP 2025 00509. All of that is public online. You can search that land development permit number and take a look at those plans. And then also to the north, well, really to the northeast of our site, is an existing Mecklenburg County park, an undeveloped park referred to as Caps Park. We'll jump into those details here in a little bit as well. All right, so why are we here? What is rezoning? Some of you are probably familiar with what zoning is and what the rezoning process is, but we'll jump into that a little bit here just so we're all on the same page on what rezoning is. So zoning is the city of Charlotte's method of classifying land by usage. It promotes development in a smart and reliable fashion for city growth, and it allows neighbors to anticipate what is coming in the near future. The chart that you're looking at shows current zoning districts under the city's UDO, essentially our zoning ordinance. And the chart is indicating the least intensive place types or zoning district. In this case, N1A is the city's least intense zoning type. N1 and N2 are both residential place types. N1 is a for the most part, a single family detached, so single family homes, duplexes, triplexes place type. N2 is going to be more of your more intense residential place type that's going to capture your townhome developments, your like three-story walk-up multifamily, stacked flats, condos, things of that nature. And those become increasingly more intense. For example, ML would be like a manufacturing and logistics. In the old City of Charlotte zoning ordinance, that was known as an industrial district, your I1 and I2s. And then it goes all the way up to the most intense district, which would be your TODs, your transit-oriented developments. Those are going to be more city center locations or within neighborhood centers, light rail lines, light rail stops, things of that nature. We also have two different types of zoning classifications, which are known as conventional and your conditional districts. Conventional are standard rezonings. You basically just get it approved, you follow the UDO. I will show you the UDO. It's this nice thick document. It's a great document at night if you are trying to fall asleep and you want to brush up on your zoning classification for the city of Charlotte. Just read that. You'll fall right to sleep. Basically, you just follow the code as it was adopted by the City of Charlotte City Council a couple of years back. There's also conditional zoning districts, which in this particular case, McKee is a conditional district, meaning if it were to be approved, we have to follow exactly what is on the plan, the site plan and the conditional development conditions, basically a narrative, a write-up, providing additional further guidance on what we can and cannot do on site. Basically, it's a site-specific plan, and its conditions are approved. It guarantees what can be built, and it also goes above and beyond what the UDO requires, for the most part, with conditional districts. A couple other relevant data points and plan sets that it's good for everyone to be familiar with. The City of Charlotte 2040 Plan, it's a living policy document that helps outline the character of the city of Charlotte. The policy framework also helps guide development over the next 15 years, 15 plus years. Of course, it's now 2026, so the appropriate math here would be 14. Then there's the UDO, which I've talked a little bit about here already. It replaces the City of Charlotte zoning ordinance, which the city followed for many, many decades. The UDO took effect on June 1, 2023, and basically what the UDO does is it consolidated a multitude of different types of policies and codes, and it updated development regulations into one single document, aligning with the vision of the 2040 Comprehensive Plan, which the city adopted prior to the UDO's adoption. And then lastly, we've got the 2040 Policy Map. This is a future land use map identifying land uses that are most suitable for future development. Some of you may remember or may recall the City of Charlotte land use plans. It was basically a multitude of documents that the City of Charlotte never actually adopted or codified. It was really a guide for development. And there were upwards of 20, 25 of these documents. Essentially, what the 2040 policy map does is it provides guidance on what the City of Charlotte would like to see from a development pattern standpoint throughout the entire city. This particular parcel follows the N1 place type on the policy map, which is what's being proposed here. Current zoning maps and districts within the area, most everything within this area, a multitude of different projects have been rezoned. A lot of single-family homes in this area have been rezoned. You've got N1C, which is what we are proposing here as well, off to the west. You've got MX3, which was an old zoning district from the zoning ordinance from many years ago, which allowed for some more creative design aspects to be incorporated into development plans, allowing mixed use, mixed residential types throughout petitions, ranging from large single family lots to townhomes to even some multifamily apartment buildings as well. That is not what we're proposing here. It's just single family lots. And then just wanted to provide a map here of what the current 2040 policy map shows. This is all in one, with the exception of the parks and preserves for the Caps Park directly to the east. All right, currently what you're looking at here is the really technical rezoning plan that has been submitted to the city of Charlotte. We'll get to a rendered plan here in just a minute. That is a little bit easier on the eyes, but essentially what this plan is illustrating are the individual single-family lots that are being proposed on site. Those lots need to be a minimum of 6,000 square feet per lot. All 50 of these lots are shown as such. We're proposing a new public road to connect to McKee, nearly aligned with Red Buckbone, which is directly across the street. You can see just a little bit of that off the plan sheet here. But essentially, this public street would extend into the site, provide frontage for each one of the lots that we are proposing. And then you can see here to the east, planned south, the future connection of the single-family development that is going in. Looks like this road has been named London Pass. That road will extend into the site to provide additional connectivity for the community and this development. Probably a couple other items to note here that you may be asking about would be these green blobs. These green blobs are preserved tree save areas. We're required to provide a minimum of 15% tree save on all projects in the city of Charlotte. These areas are areas in which trees will be preserved and recorded as tree save green area, as we call it now. The old zoning ordinance referred to it as tree save. The new UDO calls it green area. These would be preserved and recorded and left really in perpetuity. You're also looking at two SCMs. It's kind of hard. I'm not sure if you guys are looking at this on your phone, but an SCM is a stormwater control measure. The site's running along a little bit of a ridge here. So all the stormwater on site will fall towards these stormwater basins here and to the plan south here. Essentially, those basins will collect stormwater runoff, hold that water runoff for a period of days and slowly release it. It'll let out any silt, sediment, pollutants settle out to the bottom of the pond. The water will essentially clean itself and then it'll be released into the adjacent creeks. This is just a rendered site plan, a little easier on the eyes to see what we're proposing. But as you can see, we've got 3 proposed public streets on site. Got a proposed residential medium street. Essentially, all that means is it's a 60-foot wide public right-of-way lined with street trees. We've got some commitments within the rezoning petition to provide some decorative pedestrian lighting along the public roads, as well as this public loop, this public road loop here, and then an additional public connection stubbing to this future road, which is coming with the new development. All right, wanted to jump in here on another aspect here that's a little bit complex, but I wanted to walk through it. So the Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec owns a portion of the site which is currently being proposed for rezoning. That area that Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec currently owns is illustrated here with this. We'll call it magenta. I think we can call that magenta. So essentially, we're hoping that Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec agrees to include this portion of their property in this rezoning, and in turn, there are a couple items that we're exploring that we can hopefully provide back to Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec. One, most notably, it would include a minimum of 1-to-1 land swap. So for example, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but let's just use a hypothetical number. Let's say this portion of property that's magenta is 10,000 square feet. We would then dedicate over a minimum of 10,000 square feet here to the north to help really add additional usable land area to Caps Park as it gets developed in the future. So that would be a minimum 1-to-1 land swap that we hope we can manage with Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec. In addition, we would provide an access easement from the proposed public road to allow for one, access, Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec, to provide access over to this portion of the park. Some of you may be a little more familiar with this, but there's a pretty deep ravine back here. You can see a little bit of a blue stream. There's likely some type of a drainage swale running through here. And access to this portion of CAPS Community Park is a bit difficult. So we would provide an access easement on site to provide any type of maintenance needs for Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec for this portion of the park, but also as a trail network is planned in the future. This would allow for an additional pedestrian connection over to that trail network and whatever items Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec would like to plan for this park in the future. And lastly, we discussed a sidewalk extension along with this development. When we provide these road improvements, the road improvements would include a sidewalk along McKee Road for pedestrian usage. And we are speaking with Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec about potentially extending this sidewalk along their park property. So those are a couple things that we're exploring with them and just something to be mindful of as we move forward with this petition. All right. As we move forward with the timeline, I want to provide a little bit of clarity on how this will progress anticipated. This is just a guesstimate, it's just an estimate. This may or may not hold true. It might extend a little bit longer. We will see. But tonight, January 7th, is our required petitioners community meeting. Thank you all again for attending. We would anticipate the public hearing on February 16th. Generally, the public hearing is an opportunity for us to present this petition to City of Charlotte City Council. It's also an opportunity for the public to attend and voice their support, concerns of any particular petition. That holds true for any and all petitions that are going through the process in the City of Charlotte. Zoning Committee, after public hearing, the petition will go to Zoning Committee. Zoning Committee is an appointed board. Each city council member gets to appoint an individual to join Zoning Committee. Zoning Committee will then hear details as presented by City of Charlotte planning staff of the petition. Zoning Committee will then discuss it and then provide a vote of recommendation back to City Council on how they feel City Council should vote on a petition. This meeting is open to the public, but it is closed to public comment. But it is all of these meetings are available virtually and online. So if you would like to continue to be engaged in the City of Charlotte zoning process on this petition or any others, just know that this is a meeting that is also open to the public for listening in. That meeting will probably, we anticipate that meeting would be on March 3rd. And then finally, a city council vote, a decision on this petition could potentially be heard as early as March 16th. These meetings are held the third Monday of every month. So if it gets pushed and the vote does not occur on March 16th and it moves to April, I don't have a calendar in front of me, but just know that that vote would occur on the third Monday of the month. All right. Well, that is our presentation. Went through that fairly quickly. I guess it was only about 17 minutes. Not too bad. But just wanted to open it up to any questions. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. And there really aren't very many people in the meeting. If anyone wants to go off mute at this time to ask a question, hopefully, because there aren't too many people here, we can maybe go through that in a more organized fashion than some petitions that have quite a bit more people in them. In the meantime, I will jump back over here to the rendered site plan just so y'all can maybe spur some questions if you have any.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah, yes.
Hey, this is Bill Ducharme.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, we are the property located just to your right as you look at your new entrance. And I'd like to see if you could elaborate on the aspect of your presentation that dealt with potential park access through your new road. because that would certainly lie outside of your current plan. And so it seemed very vague. And we would like to know the specifics of what you and Mecklenburg County are intending at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is the road actually, the entrance?
Yeah, and you had a red line which didn't coincide with the new road that you're proposing. Yes. So,
Yep.
what is that red line?
All right. So all great questions and thank you. We actually met with Parks and Rec for the first time just a couple days ago on this matter. So this is all very early in the process, but I'm more than happy to go through it and try and explain what's happening to provide a little bit more clarity. So the public roads that we're proposing here, generally speaking, will be owned by the city of Charlotte. It'll be public right of way. They will be dedicated over to the city, and the city will maintain them as they do with any other public road. Now, given the nature of the meeting with Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec just a couple days ago, yesterday, in fact, we were brainstorming on some of the ways that this petition could benefit Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec. Unfortunately, we have not updated the site plan to reflect the potential access point,
When
but
will that,
this, but oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
when will that be updated so the public can see it?
Great question. So we are going to be revising this site plan, and essentially the public road will, well, in a more easy way to describe it, there will be a gap that will be shown in between two single-family homes, and that gap will be a common open space that will be maintained by by this neighborhood's HOA. And that gap through here will provide Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec access to their park, their property, to the north, plan north here. Can you all see my cursor? Do you see my little arrow shifting around?
No.
Oh, you don't? Bummer. Okay, so it's just to the north of this red arrow here. So there'll be a gap that's going to be shown in between the two properties adjacent the red arrow that you're looking at here. Now, on down the road, as Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec develops this park out, that would provide them the opportunity to provide a trail connection, sidewalk connection, greenway connection, whatever it is that they plan over to the public sidewalk. Then, in turn, all the neighbors that live on this side of McKee would then be able to access the community park through this access easement, through this sidewalk. And it's just an additional means of access. But when we resubmit next week, the updated plan will reflect that revision.
Okay, so that's good, but what is the red line? Not the red arrow, because there's two of them.
So let's talk first about the longer red line that is running parallel to McKee Road. That red line would be a sidewalk extension along McKee Road. So with City of Charlotte, whenever you're doing a development adjacent an existing public road and you're proposing improvements to a site, more often than not, that typically requires some type of roadway or infrastructure improvement. In this particular instance, it would include new curb and gutter running along the property frontage along McKee Road, an 8-foot landscape strip along McKee Road, and also a public sidewalk along McKee Road. We're in discussions and working with Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec to see if a sidewalk extension along McKee Road would benefit Parks and Rec, potentially to their future entrance along McKee Road. The shorter red arrow that you're looking at here in this graphic, that would be the location of the access easement between the proposed properties, with this petition providing access to Parks and Rec for maintenance in the near term, and hopefully providing pedestrians future access to the park years down the road. We're just trying to plan ahead for the what ifs.
Now, you said pedestrian access, and
Correct.
at the same time, you said access for maintenance. Maintenance sounds like vehicular access.
Well, not necessarily. When I say maintenance, let's say, for example, some trees fall and they become a danger. It would provide an opportunity or a way for Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec to access their property to get back there and to actually pull those dead trees out. I'm just trying to think of a
We
hypothetical
have
from a maintenance standpoint.
that in the 30 plus years we've been out here, but so do you know their future plans for Caps Park?
No, I don't, and I don't want to speak to what their plans are, but I do know that they're considering and working on potential plans for the park.
Yeah, they already have access on it, but and so what's the long magenta line?
The long magenta line that you're looking at is actual land that is owned by Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec. So
It's
essentially, what we would do with this petition is we would be working on a one-to-one square foot to square foot minimum land swap. So they would include the magenta area in this rezoning petition, and in turn, the orange area that you see to the north of the magenta area, that area would then be dedicated over to Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec for more land area that's contiguous to the community park.
So at that point, if the long magenta line, which is currently 15 feet wide, is taken over by the neighborhood, does that mean that in the future it is not then subject to use by Mecklenburg County?
Uh, well, no, the land essentially would become just part of the development, and everything would be combined into one single parcel for development. It would go through a subdivision plat, which would then make all of these different parcels, which I think is six. I think there's six separate parcels included in this
There's only
rezoning area. They would
there's
all become one parcel.
Yeah, but I'm only referring to the land that is defined by your magenta line.
Correct. That land would then be owned. Uh, so over time, the magenta area that you're looking at would be years down the road. Let's just say hypothetically, all this gets approved and moves forward. The magenta area would be a combination of common open space maintained by the HOA. That would be just to the north of your home. That would be common open space. It
Right.
would be included in some portions of that land would become public right of way for public roads, and then would also become part of properties, future homes.
So it's not going to be a future Mecklenburg County roadway. Um, in other words, okay, here's the thing, Paul. We understand your plan, your current drawing and
Mhm.
plan right now. Those things move forward incrementally. What we're asking about is the potential for the use of those areas to change in the future.
Hmm.
Uh, because, it looks like that line goes through about 4 or 5 different properties, and that land would become part of their single family residential property. Of course, over here on the Greenway side next to McKee Road,
Mhm.
it's only 15 feet wide.
Right.
Uh, but the county is a whole lot more creative than you or I like to admit. And we want to know what could be their future capacity for using their 15-foot wide piece of property.
Well, under this petition, potentially that 15-foot wide piece of property that you're looking at would become part of this development, and they would no longer own it. In
Right.
turn, we would dedicate property that's reflected in orange on this site plan that would be dedicated over to Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec, and that portion of land would then be their property, which they don't have today. So the orange that you're looking at is not owned by Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec. That would be dedicated over to them for use for the
Right.
future park development.
Right. And on a one-to-one basis. So it's
At
it's
a
just
minimum, at a minimum, yes.
Um, and you said that the entrance to the new development is across from Red Buckboard, and that's true from maybe 15,000 feet. But when you're down here at the end of Red Buckboard and you face McKee Road, it would jump to the left by what looks to be about 50 or 60 feet.
That is correct. Yes. It is not aligning with Red Buckboard. It is to the north of Red Buckboard. That's
Right.
right. You're exactly right. We have to maintain a minimum offset if we are not aligning to a property, or excuse me, to a road directly adjacent on a street. So that's something that we're working through. Good questions. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions regarding this petition?
Hi, Paul. This is Kelly Williams. Can you
Hey,
hear me?
Kelly, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Happy
Good.
holidays.
To you too. I had put a question about traffic studies in the chat.
Yeah.
And based on the previous, just if there had been some done, be happy to elaborate on the why behind that. And then the logic, I'm sure there's some kind of something forcing you guys not to align with the Red Buckboard Street. Just curious around, was wondering if maybe some kind of signal or other opportunity would have been there. And I'm sure there's a good reason why that's not going on.
Sure.
So those are the nature of kind of my curiosities. And we live across the street just to the northwest.
Yeah. Okay. Good question. So the main reason why we're not aligning with Red Buckbourne is because we don't want to affect the homeowner that's there. If the previous gentleman that was speaking, if we were to align with Red Buckbourne, there would be a road, I think, running through his house. So that's not necessary in this case. The city of Charlotte does not require us to align with that road, and we don't want to affect those homeowners with this proposed street. Regarding traffic, the city of Charlotte has very defined requirements on when traffic studies are required. In this particular instance, with the 50 single-family homes, the city of Charlotte does not require a traffic study, and they would not allow us to propose a traffic signal at this location because the intensity of the traffic being generated by this development doesn't meet any thresholds for the city of Charlotte to require these studies or require a signalized intersection at the proposed public road and at McKee Road. So that's really the reason why those two items are not included in this petition.
Thank you. It's helpful because I don't know what triggers that. And I didn't mean to in any way insinuate that you should run over.
From off the top of my head, Kelly, I think that number is like 25, like 2,500 trips a day. I think that's what it is in the new UDO. It might be 2,000. We have not run any traffic counts or anticipated traffic counts associated with 50 new single-family homes. So don't hold me to the number that I'm about to tell you. I'm just going off of past experience when we've done these types of studies. 50 single-family homes will probably result in approximately, I'm gonna estimate about 12 vehicle trips during peak hours. Those peak hours are identified as between the hours of 7 a.m. and 9 a.m., and then 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. PM hours are typically a little higher than morning hours just because people leave for work at different times. But 50 single family homes would probably result in about 12 new trips associated with this development.
Per house?
No,
Really?
no, 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 no. The total, not oh
There's
gosh.
no way. There's
Paul, have you ever been on McKee Road?
no.
Well, so the data points that I'm sharing with you are just how traffic studies are calculated. And I know people definitely can disagree with those, but those are just the kind of the traffic counts that are utilized for general development.
That was from
Paul,
what, 30 years ago out here?
hang on. I'm sorry. I still have a second part to my question. This is
Okay,
Kelly.
go ahead,
Can you
Kelly.
hear me, Paul?
I can.
I appreciate the education because I'm obviously not familiar with these details. The nature of the questions, and I didn't mean to infer that we should run over a neighbor's home. I just couldn't see that on my cell phone, so I apologize for that comment. The nature of the scenario here, unfortunately, though, is that we have so many of these small developments coming in that are cumulatively, they're all coming in under appropriate guidance that you just shared, but cumulatively in this area, there's no lighting. And the sidewalk that is being recommended is helpful, but they're all disjointed. So you have to walk across the street to get to the sidewalk, and then there's no sidewalk. And obviously, it's a function of individual developers doing nice things that don't connect because we're not incorporated in Charlotte. We have lost maybe 20 mailboxes at the end of our driveway. There's car damage. There are children that I don't know what they're doing with their cars, but they're revving their tires. There is no lighting on the street. So I fully understand, being in the nature of work that you are, the requirements there, but the human factor and the human safety factor is at a point on McKee Road where our children can't use the road. You cannot be a pedestrian. You have to wear a miner's light, because there's absolutely no lighting on the street. So I'm not anti-development. I'm not even particularly anti this, but there's a problem where all these disparate entrances and then connectivity to other neighborhoods is creating really unsafe turns, like for us to come out of our driveway, and of course for the people around us. And then, even with minimal increases with the thousands of homes that are being built, further into the peninsula, it's just not safe. And we can't get the attention of the city of Charlotte because we're in an unincorporated area. They will come out and help us replace our mailbox and other things like that, but it's dangerous. And then obviously others are alluding to the traffic. You can't get out of McKee Road. Should something occur on McKee Road, we're all in trouble. It's unfortunately a 45-mile-an-hour road that's now the main thoroughfare for hundreds of neighborhoods that all have families in them with children who cannot ride their bikes or walk because there is no lighting and there is no contiguous sidewalk access. And you cannot cut through the neighborhoods to get to other places that would keep people off roads like McKee, Youngblood, and others where people have been hit by cars and passed away due to these same concerns and constraints. So I want to be on record that I understand that this is a function of what's going on in this part of Charlotte, but the city, to the extent that we all can work together, we need to be thinking about this in a more global fashion, because it's a human safety element. And I know you don't carry all the responsibility for that. But I also know that, you're a thoughtful consultant who understands, the reality of all these small communities coming in, creating a larger constraint at this exact area where you're suggesting these 50 homes go.
Yeah, and Kelly, as a planner, I completely hear what you're talking about. I completely can empathize with your concerns. We deal with this across the city of Charlotte and a multitude of other jurisdictions daily. We are proponents of pedestrian safety. We are proponents of vehicular safety. The city of Charlotte takes the design criteria for these types of developments very seriously for pedestrian safety. And this is certainly something that we hope with the pedestrian sidewalks that you see within this community. Walking along McKee Road clearly is not a recommendation. And hopefully the addition of sidewalks along McKee Road will certainly help provide that safety, but that the neighbors in this neighborhood would like to have in their community.
Paul, I'm going back to the entrance, the access off of London into Caps Park. What is the width of that access? Do you know?
So are you referring to the public road connection or
No,
the?
no, I'm referring to your smaller red arrow.
So the easement there, we need to work with Parks and Rec to see ultimately what they would like to see. But generally speaking, the distance between the two proposed parcels for homes would be approximately 20 feet in
Okay.
width.
60 feet. 60 feet constitutes a municipal road access.
You're right. That's a public road. This is not a public road connection. This would be just enough for a sidewalk, essentially.
Not yet, it's not.
All right. Well, just moving forward, for a little bit of clarity on next steps and what we will be doing with the information that we have gained from your comments during this petition. The petition or this community meeting is being recorded. The presentation and the community meeting recording will be made available on our website. That's urbandesignpartners.com. Again, urbandesignpartners.com. If you go over to our rezoning page, give us a couple days. This presentation will be posted and the recording of the community meeting will be posted as well. So if you have any questions about what we discussed here today, that will all be online. We will be drafting a community meeting report that basically we will submit a copy of what we discussed here today regarding, Kelly, regarding your concerns about traffic and pedestrian safety. That will be documented and submitted over to the City of Charlotte. City of Charlotte Planning will see that. As a side note, I'm sure you all have done this, and you're probably going to roll your eyes when I say it, but please call the police and complain. Hopefully they can get out there and slow some people down. A little bit unfortunate that it's a 45-mile-an-hour zone. Maybe there can be some discussions with city council when we present this at public hearing that maybe the city should consider lowering the speed limit for McKee. That can certainly be something that I can engage Joy Mayo, who is the new council member for this area. While this is ETJ, Joy Mayo is definitely going to want to hear about that, and I can certainly relay this information to her.
Well, on that note, if I may, we don't have police coverage certain hours of the day because the city of Charlotte has reduced the number of police officers. So we don't actually have patrolling out here as much as we used to.
Okay.
So the fact is that, 45 miles an hour, they can lower it to 35 if they want to, but we've got kids out here that are being
Still
reported
speeding.
in South Carolina that are racing and passing people on the double yellow and causing quite, a safety hazard out here. We don't anticipate that will change with the new developments. It's just going to get worse. We know that, but at least the city council could be told that, citizens would like police coverage out here. And someday when they beef up the CMPD.
And I am happy to be a proponent of that and bring that to council's attention during the public hearing. I'm more than happy to be a sounding board for y'all when I have this discussion with council in a few weeks. I certainly can commit to doing that for everybody and let them know what your concerns are. So yeah, this will all be documented, and then it will move to public hearing anticipated next month. And I encourage everyone, if they have any follow-up questions or any concerns about the petition, please feel free to email me directly. You can reach me at Paul, Paul, at Urban Design Partners. And I'm happy to have a phone conversation with anyone if there are additional concerns on the petition moving forward. Do we have any additional questions by chance? Well, all right. Well, again, I want to thank everybody for spending your Wednesday evening with us as we presented the petition for 2025-124, and hope to have future conversations with y'all in the future.
Can I have one last question as people go?
Sure.
I know that as developers, you guys were not that you're developing it, but you guys were only required to let people know within a certain, certain area. As this will more people be let know about this, or are you guys not required to let more people know?
Well, the city of Charlotte actually provides us with a mailing list of everyone that needs to be notified. The city of Charlotte basically sets those rules on I think we have to notify all property owners within 300 linear feet of a petition, a proposed rezoning. The city of Charlotte then provides us a mailing list. We take that mailing list and we generate the community meeting notice mailer. And we have 10, let's see, the mailing notices need to be sent out a minimum of 10 days prior to the community meeting being conducted. We actually mailed these out, I think the Monday before Christmas. So knowing it was the holidays, knowing Christmas was coming, knowing that New Year's and the mail, as slow as it is, was going to slow down even more. I think we sent them about 16 or 17 days before the community meeting, just to provide everyone ample amount of time to prepare for the meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everybody. Well, again, thank you for joining us. Greatly appreciate all your feedback. We will relay your questions and concerns to City of Charlotte in the coming days. And again, I'd like to reiterate, if anyone has any further questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. Happy to do that. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a nice evening and enjoy the rest of the week and the warmer weather that we're going to have for the next few days. Hopefully that'll get us to spring. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening.